Indeed. Sorry it took us a few extra minutes, but we're going to get into it. The title of this Shabbat's lesson is the Black History Month deception. The Black History Month deception. So go to the PowerPoint for me. Lies and stolen identity. What do you see? Okay. You see here Harriet Tubman and who else? Sojourner Truth. Indeed. What do you notice about these women? Say it again. They're wearing fringes and what else? And they both got head coverings. You think that's a coincidence? What's so crazy about it is, especially Sojourner Truth, you can go and get multiple pictures, and in every picture, she makes sure she has some type of fringes on. Their heads are pretty much always covered. I think there's a younger picture, which I do have, but it's not in this PowerPoint, of Harriet Tubman. And she doesn't have her head covered, but she definitely has a dress, and it appears that she also has fringes. You know what's so funny? You know, we hear about certain people, you know, for Black History Month, and they never quite seem to mention this. You know, they definitely like controlling the narrative. All right. So I want to go into this. Go to Job chapter 8. Job chapter 8, and let's get 8 through 10. Job chapter 8, verse 8.
For I inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of thy fathers.
So for inquire, so that's something that's being commanded. It says inquire. What's so crazy is our people today, a lot of our people, they don't inquire. All right. They don't inquire about our history. Go ahead.
For we are but of yesterday.
So it said also prepare thyself to the search of your fathers. We're supposed to search and find out who our fathers were. Why? Why is it important for us to search out our fathers? You know what's so crazy? How many of you guys are a product of the public school system? Okay. Now, what's so crazy about the public school system, right? They always told you about the founding fathers of this country, right? It was always important for them to let you know and to teach you about their fathers, right? But what were you taught in the public school system about your fathers? Slaves. And that's if they wanted to even talk about that. Because in this day and age, a lot of the time, they don't even want to talk about slavery anymore. They don't want to talk about, because, you know, we're getting into the black part of the nation because it's Black History Month. But even with the other part of the nation, they don't want to teach you about the conquistadors. They don't want to teach you your real history, right? And they definitely don't want to resurface the pain that our people have endured at the hands of their forefathers. All right, so go ahead and read.
For we are but of yesterday.
The Bible says, but we are but of yesterday, meaning we haven't been living that long. All right, the oldest person up in here, I guarantee, is not even 100. All right, 100 years might seem like a long time to either of us, But in actuality, it's not that long in terms of history. All right. So many hundreds of years have passed by. It's been approximately 2,000 since our king walked this earth. Right? Go ahead and read.
And know nothing. Because
and we don't know anything. The little bit that we do know is nothing in comparison to the wealth of history that this world has seen. Go ahead.
Because our days upon the earth are a shadow.
Our days upon the earth are a shadow, meaning you haven't lived long enough to really have made that much of an imprint in comparison to all of the history and all of the great accomplishments of man, and specifically of our nation, of the nation of Israel. Go ahead.
Shall not they teach thee?
So now, when it says, shall not they teach thee, who is it speaking of? Your oppressor. Shall not your oppressor, shall not in this particular captivity, there's someone who actually has the authority. There's someone who has the top spot in this particular oppression that we're in, this captivity. Who does that happen to be? So-called white man. We know him and we identify him according to the scriptures as the Edomites, the progeny of Esau. We call them Esau, right? They're the ones that actually have the authority to actually teach us. They're the ones that run the institutions that we call schools. They're the ones that set the curriculum, right? So when it says, read it one more time.
Shall not they teach thee?
Shall not they teach thee? Meaning the Bible is letting you know they're going to make sure that they teach you. They, at some point, they understood. They said, there's no way in the world we can let these Israelites teach themselves, because they're going to teach themselves who they are. They're going to teach themselves what it is that they've lost and everything that it is that they stand to gain by coming back to their true identity. He said, no, we can't have that. So we have to make sure that we teach them. See, that was the thing. For a while, Esau didn't get it for a moment. He said, look, I don't want to have nothing to do with y'all. Y'all stay over there. We stay over here. We just going to beat you, whip you, and use you for slave labor. And then after the emancipation, which it still wasn't, the abolishment of slavery, but we were emancipated, he decided to have what was called segregation. The thing was, segregation was working fine for us. It was working good. Post-emancipation, our people began to do great things because we understood a little bit still who we were. We understood enough that we began to delve back into our industrial or industrious behaviors, right? During the time of the Great Depression was actually a great time for Israelites. We did well. We did business, not only on a domestic level, but we began to do international business. And you know what he said? Nah, we can't have this. There's no way in the world you're coming fresh out of slavery and you're doing better than us. Plus, everything that we've ever touched, we're the common denominator in every captivity. The reason why every kingdom that was great and every empire that has ever been great has been great because of one common denominator, which happens to be, guess who? They had us as captives. We literally built the infrastructures. And that's if we hadn't already built it. And then they came in and began to call themselves by the name of people that we knew ourselves to be. You look at even the Greek and the Roman history. They weren't the original Greeks and Romans. And those are facts. Things were already built when they came and conquered. They really haven't built much at all. They weren't pioneers of many things at all. And it's the same thing right here. So go ahead and read that one more time, verse 10.
Shall not they teach thee and tell thee and utter words out of their heart?
Words out of their own mind. They said, look, we got to figure this out. We got to figure out what the narrative is going to be. We can't just tell them what happened. And not only that, we can't tell them who they are, and we can't tell them who we are. Well, you know what? That might work for a little while, but it's not going to work very well, because how are we going to be able to explain this? Well, guess what we'll do? We'll call ourselves by their names. Not just the name of Israel, but pretty much every name that we've had another nation, mostly Esau, has called himself by it. Literally. We can't have anything in history. You want to talk about Black history, you want to talk about Latino, Hispanic, indigenous history, you're talking about world history, because we literally ruled the earth. But this is never taught. It's never taught to our children. It's never taught to us. We don't have any value for it, because at this point we say, well, what is history going to do for me? The thing is, one of the reasons why you're broke and broken is not because of what's in your bank account, but it's because of what's here. Because you've been broken here. Because you've learned things that prohibit you from moving forward and abounding. And it started here. It started at a very early age. So now, this big lion, they've convinced you that you're nothing but a poodle. And they got you chained up to a plastic chair. And they've convinced you that that plastic chair is so heavy that there's nowhere in the world that you can escape. So you just stay in your place. And when you're trained enough, then just like how many of y'all have ever owned a dog? You train that dog well enough and he stick around the house well enough, you feed him long enough. Guess what? When you let him off the chain and open that gate up, he might run around, but what is he going to do? He's going to come right back in the yard. Go from there. Go to Revelation chapter 2. So every time they want to talk about Black history, first of all, they gave us February. Now, we ain't stupid. September, October, November, December. Those are not the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th months of the year. Septi actually means 7, right? Yeah. Yeah. So they lied about that much, right? Septi means 7. Octo means 8. Novi means what? Deci means what? Then you got January, named after the false god Janus, the double-headed god, right? Last but not least, you got February. That is the last month of the year. They give you not only the last, but they give you the least. 28 days, 29 every 4 years. And say, be happy with that, niggas. I got to keep it raw and uncut. Tell it like it is. Then on top of that, which I'll show you in a moment. As a matter of fact, go to that real quick. Go to the PowerPoint. I didn't get a chance to put everything I wanted to on here, but it's all good. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. Then you can't even have February to yourself. You got to share February with football, the Super Bowl. You got to share it with the All-Star game, Valentine's Day. At what point do you really get to delve into so-called Black history? And what big do they have set up? They said the Super Bowl is the what you call it? Next to Thanksgiving, it's the second biggest day for food consumption. It's a feast. second biggest feast in the country. I had a couple of other things. I'm just gonna pull up on my thing. But I think I might wait. I'll wait for that. So go ahead and read that.
Revelations 2 and what?
2 and 9. I want 9 and 10.
Revelations chapter 2, verse 9. I know thy works and tribulations and poverty.
He said, I know your works. He said, I know your tribulation, all of the things you go through. He said, I know your poverty. I know you're poor. I know you go through hell. I know you didn't come from anything. But what?
But thou art rich.
He said, but you still rich. You're rich in spirit. You're rich according to Romans chapter 9. He said, I got things that I promised unto you. But go ahead.
And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews.
He said, I know the lie of those that call themselves by your name. But what?
And are not.
But they are not you. They are not us. It's crazy because you can feel the one that they call Jesus Christ. You can feel his pain just a little bit. Because they kept telling them, you ain't the Christ. You ain't the Messiah. You ain't Hamashiach. Ain't that what they told him? Now imagine you going to the bank. You ready to pull your money out, right? How many of y'all go to the bank sometimes, right? Bank, credit union, right? Imagine you go to the bank. You go to the counter. You give them your ID, and they look at your ID and say, this is not you. Sir, I can't help you. Ma'am, I can't help you. This is not you. You'd have a fit. Have a fit. We're literally living in a day and in a society where we're saying, and we got the proof, this is us. And they say, what? Oh, you're a black Jew? You're a black Jew? Ain't that crazy? Isn't that ironic? And then even within our own nation, and then we want to question within the northern and southern kingdom. Just a big old identity mess. But go ahead.
And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan.
The ones that call themselves by our name, he said they happen to be the chosen vessel of Satan. They are Satan incarnated into the flesh. But read.
Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer.
He said, don't fear anything that you're going to suffer, because we're going to suffer. We've been suffering, but we're going to do a little bit more suffering. Go ahead.
Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison.
And some of y'all going to go to prison. Some of us. What else?
That ye may be tried.
You're going to be tried. It's becoming a popular thing to be an Israelite now. As people see, like I spoke about it a couple of weeks ago. You know, you got rappers and stuff stepping up. I'm an Israelite. It's like the popping thing now. It's like wearing a new watch. But when you start getting pressed for that watch, they're going to start pressing you. You thought, how many of y'all grew up in gang neighborhoods? How many of y'all that never got banged on? It don't feel good, do it? Yeah, that was one thing, though. You got pressed. Where you from? It's going to be a whole nother thing when they press you about who you are. Oh, yeah. I dare you to say you're an Israelite. A lot of people want to be Israelites right now. It's a pretty cool time to be an Israelite for the moment. But he said, y'all got to get tried. He said, that's why I got y'all feasting together. He said, that's why I got y'all going out to war with each other. He said, because you're going to need each other. That's one of the things that they keep putting out there. Oh, you don't need a camp. Trust me. Camps been all the way since the beginning, whether you want to call them tribes, churches, so on and so forth. And the Most High put that in place because you need that. You're going to need body. You're going to need others. You're going to need camaraderie. You're going to need help. Because it's going to get hard. Go ahead and read.
And ye shall have tribulation 10 days.
For a certain duration of time. Yeah, it's going to happen. Read.
Be thou faithful unto death.
He said, but you need to be faithful unto death. If it means your life being taken, then go to the end. Let them take your life. Because what?
And I will give thee a crown of life.
Because he's going to give us that crown. He's going to give us that life that shall endure forever, that no one will be able to take. That's what we got to focus on. When you're talking about our history, you got to not only talk about our true history, but you got to talk about our legacy. You got to talk about the promises, the covenant, and the prophecies concerning us. Go from there. Go to Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 3. Y'all all right? All right. I'll be going to sleep on me up in here. Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 3.
Isaiah 1 and 3.
Yep.
The ox knoweth his owner.
So the Bible said the ox is a dumb animal. The ox know who his owner is. Go ahead.
And the ass his master's
crib. And the ass, the donkey. He even got enough common sense to know where he belongs, where his home is at. But read.
But Israel.
But who?
But Israel.
But the Israelites
does not know.
We don't know. As a people, we don't know who we are. We don't know whose we are, and we don't know where we belong. You know what's so crazy about this? I still get excited. These are them old school foundational scriptures we going through right now, but I'll never get tired of reading them. Because when I leave out of this place, it's so many of us that still don't know who we are. Waking up on a day-to-day basis. Go ahead.
My people does not consider.
And many of our people don't even consider. They don't even consider who they are. They could care less. Go from there. Go to 2 Ezra chapter 2, 5 through 7.
Second Ezra chapter 2, verse 5. As for me, O Father, I call upon thee for a witness over the mother of these children, which would not keep my covenant.
So it's talking about us, the children of Israel. Read on.
That thou bring them to confusion.
He said that you bring them, us, to confusion. We look plenty confused right now as a people. We everything but what we are. We this, we that. Some folks want to actually claim another people. Some folks don't even want to claim a people at all. They want to claim a religion, a doctrine. Some folks just want to be individuals. Some folks just want to be sellouts. We confused. Go ahead.
And their mother to spoil.
And that's Jerusalem. Jerusalem has definitely come to spoil. Our enemies spoiled us, and they continue to spoil us. They have Jerusalem. They've taken all of our holy things that many of us aren't even aware that we had as a people. They have the bodies of our forefathers on display. Literally. They've spoiled us. They came here to the Americas and spoiled us. How many indigenous people did they say were roaming the Americas? And they still here, don't get it twisted. But look at what happened. They've taken this and said, this is ours. America. Let's make America great again. America the Great, aka Babylon the Great. But that's what Esau do. He take it. Jack move. But go ahead and read.
that there may be no offspring of them.
No offspring of them, meaning what? Yeah, we got actual offsprings, but we don't have offsprings that know who they are. We haven't produced Israelite offsprings, sons of the Heavenly Father, sons of the Most High. We're just now getting to the point where the Most High is allowing us to do that again. But for so long, we had no idea of who we were and who we are. Go ahead.
Let them be scattered abroad among the heathen.
He said, let us be scattered abroad among the heathen. Read.
Let their names be put out of the earth. For they have despised my covenant.
Our names were put out of the earth because we didn't want to keep these commandments. Go from there. Go to Ezra chapter 9 in verse 7 and 8.
Ezra chapter 9 verse 7. Since the days of our fathers have we been in a great trespass unto this day.
Yep.
And our iniquities have we, our kings and our priests, been delivered into the hand of the king into the hand of the king of the land, to the sword, to captivity, and to a spoil, and to confusion of faces, as it is this day.
So the scripture says, since the days of our fathers have we been in a great trespass all the way unto this day. We've been sinning. We've been doing what the heck we want to do. We haven't been sticking to the scripts. All right. It says, and for our iniquities have we, not only us, but also our kings and our priests, been delivered into the hand of the kings of the land. It's called captivity. To the sword as well, to captivity, and to a spoil, and to confusion of face. Did not all of these things happen to us as a people? As it is to this very day. Are we still in the same situation? You know what's so crazy now? You ask most of our people in this country, you got a whole lot of Uncle Toms in this country. You got a whole lot of coons. They get mad as all outdoors when you call them that. You got a whole lot of coons in this country. A whole lot of them that will tell you, oh, no, it ain't like it what it was. It's way better now. Way better now. We can do what we want. But we can't do what we want. You have certain liberties and amenities, right? But you're not to step outside of that box. Because the moment you step outside of that box, guess what's going to happen? Somebody going to be there to check you, to put you back in your place. You ain't free. Go ahead.
Verse 8. And now for a little space, grace has been showed from the Lord, our power, to leave us a remnant to escape.
We are blessed because the Most High said, look, I could have destroyed you. He said, but I left a remnant to begin to populate, and hopefully some of y'all gonna get it right. He said, as a matter of fact, I'm prophesying 1/3 of y'all gonna actually get it together, but 2/3 of y'all gotta go. Go ahead.
And to give us a nail in his holy place, that our power may lighten our eyes, and give us a little ravening in our bondage.
A little what?
Ravening in our
Read
bondage.
that one more time.
Oh, excuse me. A little reviving in our bondage.
A little reviving in our bondage. This is the type of reviving that you get right here. Understand that. Here's the thing that you got to understand. We, as a people, we like to be entertained. We do. We like to be entertained, and a lot of times we value entertainment more than enlightenment. I'm going to say it one more time. We value entertainment more than we value enlightenment. We value entertainment more than we value upliftment. We value entertainment more than we value education. A lot of times we value entertainment more than we value ourselves. Seriously. We spend our lives trying to figure out some way that we can be entertained. Some of y'all like to watch TV. Some of y'all play video games. Some of y'all like to be entertained by going and doing things. Whatever the case may be, you're chasing happiness, temporary happiness. But how many of you guys have really realized the kingdom in your minds? How many of you guys think on a day-to-day basis about what the kingdom holds for you? How many of you guys on a day-to-day basis honestly say, man, I really can't wait until I get into the kingdom. I'm hasting to get what I got to get done here so I can make it to that kingdom. Or do you think more about what's going on in this world? I guarantee the vast majority, if not all of y'all think more about what's going on in this world. Because you get caught up into this world. It consumes you. Right? Yeah. It's the flesh. I ain't seen the movie, but I've seen like the cartoons and stuff with y'all seen Venom? Yeah. That's the relationship right there. Some part of you wants to do the right thing, but that other part, it's got his own mind, his own will. And somehow, some way you get caught up and you do things that you wouldn't want to do. So you think, or is it actually feeding off of a small portion that's in you and just allowing that's in the depths of your spirit to come out? Kind of like the liquor. What Chris Brown say, is something in this liquor. Is it the liquor or is it you? Keep it 100. I know for some of us, if you might not have certain things in your spirit. From what I've seen and from what I've experienced, if you don't have, I'll give you an example. Homosexuality, that's a spirit, meaning a certain mind state, right? If you don't have homosexuality in your spirit, when you get drunk, you probably won't do anything homosexual, right? But if that's somewhere in your spirit, you might be susceptible to that or anything else, whatever. If it's something in your spirit, it's a scripture. I don't remember exactly where it's said, but I think it's I don't want to butcher it. It's in James, but basically he says you can't blame the Most High. It's something that's in you. But go from there. Go to the PowerPoint real quick. Okay. They was talking about this the other week. Killer Mike has a little series out called Trigger Warning. And this was one of the episodes. He caught the infamous Creflo Dollar. Had a conversation with him, and Killer Mike was saying a few things. That was one of the things that he said. He said, we have to have our Hebrew moment. They know. And then, I didn't get a chance to put these images in there, but he began to talk about the whole white Jesus thing. And he said, what's up with that? Creflo said, brother, I know that Jesus ain't white, but that's what the people love. That's what they want. And what's so crazy about it is many of our people now know that we're the Israelites, and they're beginning to know about our history. They know that we ruled the earth. They know that the dark ages are our history, right? They know that classical music, we were the ones that created and did it best. Classical music. Many of the people from Shakespeare to Beethoven, Mozart, that they would talk about as if these were Edomites, weren't Edomites at all. So, with all of that being said, many of these people know this and they still keep hush about the situation. They sellouts. See, this is what Esau prefers. He prefers that over there, the image that he projects about Martin Luther King Jr. People are starting to realize now that in his latter years, he began to speak differently. I saw a few videos where he said, look, what I was saying was really unrealistic. This came out of his own mouth. Then there's the famous quote from Harry Belafonte. He told him that King admitted to him that I think I integrated our people into a burning house. Right? He knew that he had made a mistake. Then there's also the allegation from Malcolm X that says that King was part of, I think, 6 men that were set up and paid to actually be the face of the civil rights movement. And he was funded. And I'm pretty sure even if that be the case, once he got in, there was some part of him that wanted to do, right by the people, right? And then at the end, when he started becoming kind of rogue and not sticking to the plan, then it was a problem. Now there's even stuff coming out by this Edomite called William Pepper, who's supposed to be like the family lawyer, who claims that King actually survived the gun attack, the assassination, but that it was a government plan to kill him regardless, and that supposedly, according to him, at the hospital, the surgeon was the one that actually put him to death. He came in and said, "Don't save this nigger." Then told certain people to leave the room. That nurse, who they say was an eyewitness, as she began to leave, she said she heard people hawking up spitting on King. And she saw, this is according to him, saw the surgeon take the pillow from under his head, place the pillow on his face, and suffocate him to death. And he's written a few books on it. So what is Black history? That's every time we hear about Black history, that's the go-to guy. That's the go-to guy. And then they only give you what they set him up, and that's the king that they give you, right? The integration king, the one that fought for homosexual rights. That's the king that they give you, but they don't want that image right there. They don't like that image. They don't like to talk about the Black Panther Party. They don't like to talk about Malcolm. They don't like to talk about Medgar Evers. They don't like to talk about those guys. Watch this. To the point where they got upset. They got upset when Beyonce did this. It's entertainment. It was like, not at our Super Bowl. We don't want nobody to remember that. And they were very offended. Very offended. Dressed up as Black Panthers. Say enough is enough. He took a knee. Took a stand by taking a knee, right? Y'all know this guy, right? Colin Kaepernick. Ended up, his whole career was snatched away from him, right? But this ain't nothing new. Been protesting. I forgot the men's name. I should have had it. But during the Olympics in 1960, was It's a 68, I think, huh? I think it was 68. These two men put up the Black Power fist, and they caught a whole lot of hell for it. But of course, even with that, there still had to be exploitation. Guess who capitalized off of that? Our people everywhere. I support Nike. Nike got our back. Now, Nike just ain't stupid. Nike ain't stupid. They know who buy their shoes. Nike ain't stupid at all. Let me see if I can get something real quick. Hold on one second. Oh man, I wish I could have showed you this. This main image I want to show y'all. I'm gonna figure out a way I can get it up. I'm gonna figure this out in a second. If I email them to you, you'll pull them up. I got a couple images. I gotta show y'all. In the meantime, while I'm doing that, give me Psalms 83.
Psalms 83.
Oh yeah, Tommy Smith and John Carlos. Those was the brothers from the Olympics. Psalm 83. I'm gonna see if I can pull these images up, send them to my brother right here so he can pull them up and show y'all. Some very important images. Go ahead.
Psalms 83:1.
Yeah, start at verse 1.
Psalms 83, verse 1. Keep not thou silent, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up thy head.
Said your enemies make a tumult. They're making a big noise, a big commotion. And they that hate thee what?
Have lifted up thy head.
Have lifted up thy head. Read. Go ahead.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
They've taken crafty counsel against us. What kind of crafty counsel do you think they took against us? Let's see. Let's find out. Go ahead.
And consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said.
They did what?
They have said, come.
And did what against our hidden ones?
They have taken crafty counsel and consulted against thy people.
Against what?
Against thy people. And consulted against thy hidden ones.
Thy hidden ones. Talking about us. We've been hidden in plain sight. How can you be hidden in plain sight? You're in America. Everybody in this world knows about America. I guarantee there's plenty of countries you don't know anything about. Some you probably never have heard of. But everybody knows America. Am I right or wrong? Here you are in quote unquote the greatest country on the earth, and you're hidden in plain sight. You have historically the greatest people to ever exist, and we're right here in the eye of the entire world. And somehow they've been able to hide us in plain sight. How do you do that? That's like me having your car, right? Your car is missing. And you're in this room, and I got your car hidden in here in plain sight, and you don't see it. How many of you guys think that I could get away with that with you? Nobody? Want to bet? Look. But go ahead.
They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation.
Let us cut them off from being a nation. That's what was done to us. That's the thing. That's the reason why we call it Black History Month deception. They intended to cut us off from being a people. How did they do that? How did they do that? They took our culture. Yeah, absolutely. What else did they do? Or what did that all entail? Look that up. Pull that up.
Pull up the
Email. Go ahead. Absolutely. All types of stuff, right? All types of stuff. Go ahead. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Pulling these images up real quick that I need to show y'all. Go to you, back to your email. Put it up so I can see it. All right, let's read that real quick. Go ahead.
verse. They have said, "Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance."
That we will no more be in remembrance of who we are. Go ahead.
For they have consulted together with one consent.
They've consulted together with one consent. They were all in cahoots. All right, go ahead.
They are confederate against thee.
They are confederate against us. Confederate. You know what confederacy is, right? They're all in it together against us. Even though they have their own differences, even though they have their own beefs with one another, they put those beefs to the side just to come against us, just to conspire against us. Read.
The tabernacle of Edom.
That's the only one I really want to get right now. He's at the top of the list. Your boy, Esau. Esau. Go from there real quick. And he's the one that we read about when it says, shall they not teach us? They're the ones that are going to teach us. They're the ones that have been teaching us the Black history that they're comfortable with us knowing. You know what I'm saying? It's every year it's the same thing, the same people. They give you a whole list of the inventors. Do you know you guys invented this from peanut butter? George Washington Carver. Yeah, do you know such and such invented the stoplight? Yeah, you guys, look, it's a whole list of things you invented. You guys should be proud of yourself. Yeah. They said keep on inventing so we can keep on taking your inventions and patenting them ourselves. They only giving you credit for a fraction of all of the stuff we actually invented. That's the crazy thing about it. Now I'm gonna tell you what they don't give you credit for. They don't give you credit for a whole lot of the things that they still make money off of that they stole from us. Man, even some things that they may have, and they might not have even done that, but it appears that they actually invented, but we made it better. We made it what it is today. Because one of the things I want to go into is, basketball, football, all of these different sports that we play. We always have done it better than everybody else. We invented hockey, absolutely. You know that history. Exactly. And they keep us out of that. I want to actually go into a little bit to talk about specifically, because the two biggest sports that our people are into are basketball and football, right? And pretty much every park, when you talk about so-called blacks of Israel, because blacks ain't the only Israelites. Black Hebrew Israelites, not the case. But speaking of the so-called blacks amongst the nation of Israel, right? Our little boys always want to be basketball players and football players. So you got, let me see. That's the first one. All right. Pull that over. You know how to pull it over? Make it big? Yep. Let's see if I can make it a little bit bigger. How can I make that even bigger?
Let's zoom in and zoom out. Yeah, zoom in.
There we go. Bam. Bam. It says the NFL has declared that any players kneeling during the national anthem will now be hit with a fine. Looking at the racial breakdown of the league helps understand why. The NFL's racial breakdown depends on where you look. Percent of total. Now notice that's the little key at the top. You got the weirdish bluish green color for the Edomites, right? So-called white people, right? You got the pink for the so-called African Americans who are Israelites. Right behind that, which you can barely see, is so-called Latinos, which are also Israelites. I don't know why I can't see it. Can y'all see it? No, don't trip. You don't have to make it bigger. It's cool. It's perfect where it's at. And then you got so-called Asian, and then all the rest of them. Now look, you see the first thing is players, right? Overwhelmingly, who's playing in the NFL? So-called blacks of Israel, right? That's the reason why they don't want there to be a major protest, because they won't have anybody to play. But now watch the disparity. Now look at the league office. Big difference, right? Now look at the head coaches. Big difference, right? Mostly Edomites, right? Now, you're gonna love this part. Look at the CEO and presidents. Where the other at? 100%. Give me that next one. NFL. It should be the Negro and Native Football League. Yep. Do it how you did the other one.
I'll just drag it over.
Well, however you did the last one.
I know I previewed it.
Preview it then. Now drag that whole thing over.
All right, bring it back up, Bob.
He got a new computer. That's why he's struggling. Hit the square to the right. All the way to the right. To the right. That square up top. Yep. All right. Yep. Bam. All right. Cool. Now, the NFL is not alone in having such a discrepancy. Figures for the NBA are slightly better, but largely similar. Racial breakdown in the NBA. Percent of total. You see the same ones. So-called white Edomites, so-called African Americans, Israelites, Latinos, which are Israelites, Asian, and other, right? Players. How many Israelites in the league? Now look at the next one. The league office. Ain't too many Magic Johnsons in there. Look at the head coaches. You got all this Israelite talent, but all these Edomite coaches, like they the only ones that can coach. And then look at the CEO and the presidents. I think Magic and maybe one other one or something like that probably is that. Yeah, yep. Wow. Crazy. Magic had to say he had AIDS. Jordan had to take a white woman. Crazy. So let's go back to the PowerPoint thing. Hold on. I got you. I'm going to drag this back over. Get rid of that. Now. Oh, yeah, I took it down. Should have left it up. We didn't leave it up. Let's just minimize it. It might still be up. Nah, it ain't up. Open. Oh, that's enough. Cancel that or X out of that. So that. 1 second, y'all. I might. Okay. Drag that over. No. You just keep trying to drag the wrong thing. Drag this whole thing over. Yeah, here like this. There you go. You can close that. Move out the way. There you go. All right, let's see. Now watch this. Look. Got this coming up, right? All-Star game. These are the two head guys in All-Star. Right? Israelites. But watch this, though. But when you look at the logo is still that guy over there to the far left. Jerry West. That ain't Kobe. It's Jerry West. I think we misrepresented because to your right are said to be the three greatest basketball players to ever live. And they all, guess what? They all Jakes. How come can't none of them get on the new logo? We misrepresented. Exactly. It's just like the image of Yahweh Shai. They took that down and gave us the image of that dog, that devil. Yeah. And it conditions our people to think a certain way. That's the reason why they feel like y'all are the majority. It's way more players than it is owners, right? But with all of that, they feel like they're powerless. There wouldn't be an NBA like when you go into the history, go and do your history. I actually got a DVD on the history of the Negro League, specifically the Negro Baseball League. But you got to also understand that there were also other leagues. There was the basketball league, which lasted for like about better part of 50 years. Basketball would not be what it is had it not been for Israelites. Same thing with football. Yeah. And then they took the Harlem Globetrotters and made them into a buffoonery, made them into basically a bunch of clowns. Yeah, basketball circus act. But neglect to tell you the history. What is it about that history that they don't want us to know? Think about it for a second. What about that history do they not want us to know? You're absolutely right. But it's one other thing that I'm looking for. You're absolutely right. What is so threatening about that history? That too is one thing, though. Think about it. Exactly. But it's one thing, though. What's that one thing? Think about it. We were the ones that were running the show. We were the owners.
It was showing that we had a mind for business as well.
Absolutely. Not only were we business savvy, we have the organizational skills, right? But in addition to that, we cornered the market because we have the best talent. We had the talent. So Esau did what he always does best. He said, "Nah, hold on. I got to get my hands in this. Since y'all can't have all of this money to yourselves, man, we gotta integrate. Segregation ain't good for my pockets." Go back. Man, they took down everything. Now they got this right here. Got a couple of brothers that's trying to do some new stuff. You got the Freedom Football League that they trying to get up. What's his name? I think Ricky Williams, T.O., a couple of other Israelite football players. And then you got Ice Cube with the Big Three trying to start their own leagues. But that's something that we had been done. Now we struggle to try to do it today, and it's still on their terms. But we've been needing our own. Those are some of the teams from the Negro Baseball League. The brother just gave a brief history, and everything that he said was on point. A lot of history, man. A lot of your greatest players that ended up playing in the leagues now were actually players that came from these leagues. And another thing that you should know is, man, our people were so talented that they played in multiple leagues. You had some that played baseball and basketball and were actually coaches and owners. Literally. A lot of history to know there. But the history of ownership and organization, you got a brother by the name of Edwin B. I can't remember his last name. And he's known as like the father of Negro sports. And he's a big part of the reason why you have varsity teams and the culture of basketball and different sports and schools, so on and so forth. And he organized just various different parts of what allows these businesses to operate in the way that they operate. That's pretty much all I got on that. So let's go back to the scripts. Go to Isaiah 45 and 4.
Isaiah chapter 45, verse 4. For Jacob, my servant's sake, and Israel, mine elect, I have even called thee by thy name, and have surnamed thee, though thou hast not known me.
He said, I surnamed you. He said, I surnamed you. What is a surname? Wake up. What's a surname? I'm going to call somebody. Get a mic over there. Whoever you choose. There you go. What's a surname?
Is it, I don't know, a nickname or
A nickname? Get your brother helping you out.
the
What's
name
a
that
surname?
a person has in common with other family members, as distinguished from a Christian name or a given name, family name.
A family name, okay. So a surname, a hereditary name common to all members of a family, as distinct from a given name. So a surname is the same as a last name, right? Now we utilize those last names to indicate who our fathers were or are, right? So it's a hereditary name, meaning it's something that binds you to your ancestry, all right? Common to all members of a family. So when he said, I surnamed you, I gave you the name of Israel, Yasharallah, he's letting you know, I gave you that name. It's important that you know that that is your name. That's your God-given name. And that is the name that binds you to your ancestry and binds you to your nation. So when did it become cool to be black? They gave us that surname, Black. Black is the thing that binds you all together. Brown. Brown is what binds you together. Latino, Chicano, Indian. When did that become cool? I had it, but I didn't put it in there. I didn't have time. But you had Kendrick. He said, don't call me black no more. Said, huh? James Brown. Yeah, because he said I'm black and I'm proud. Now, here's the thing. Black, it wasn't that black was never utilized. But black, it was always understood what black was. Number one, black did not mean the black that we know it to be now. Black was indicative of just darkness, or not necessarily darkness, but a dark colored people or people of color, right? When it was used as an adjective to describe us. So there was not necessarily a difference between so-called black and brown. When you go into the scripts, when you read about Jacob, and it talked about, I think the only where in the scriptures where it uses the word brown, talks about the cattle, and you go into that, and it's one and the same as black. So it's talking about of a dark color, right? So as a people, we were identified as a people of color, but that's what it is. It's just an identifying trait, but it was never who we are. It was never who we were. We've gotten to the point where we've accepted it as our surname. We've accepted black as an identity, and that ain't cool. It's not cool, and it's caused a whole lot of confusion. Caused a whole lot of confusion because we don't know who we are. We don't know who our fathers are. All right. So you got plenty of places in scriptures where it shows you, you know, you can go to Songs of Solomon, chapter 1, 5 through 6. Solomon lets you know, You know, I can just rifle off a number of different scriptures, but it lets you know that we're a people of color. So my question is, with all of the scriptures that let you know that our people, the children of Israel, were always a people of color, how come this is never brought out in any of your Black history programs? It's not brought out to your children at school in their Black history programs. It's not expressed through the television specials and shows that they put out during so-called Black History Month. Why is that? How come when we talk about, you know, great people amongst our nation, they never bring up Yahweh Shai? They never bring up Moses. Why is that? And then it's becoming more and more common knowledge that these people were people of color. But people still choose not to acknowledge them as such. That's where the deception comes in. But again, you want to confine us to inventions. You want to confine us to sports and entertainment. No, we ain't having that. Go from there. Go to Ezekiel chapter 16. It's another problem right here. Ezekiel chapter 16, verse 2 and 3.
Ezekiel chapter 16, verse 2.
Uh-huh.
Son of man, cause Jerusalem to
16
know.
and 2. Oh, yeah, you're right. Apologies.
It's all right. Verse 2. Son of man, cause Jerusalem to know her abominations.
Go ahead.
And say, thus saith the Lord unto Jerusalem.
Unto Jerusalem. So when you talk about Jerusalem, you're talking about the children of Israel. But watch what he says. Read.
Thy birth and thy nativity is of the land of Canaan. Thy father's was an Amorite, and thy mother a Hittite.
Now, what does he mean by that? He calling us Africans. Are we Africans? No. But what is he saying? Said you want to be an African, you want to act like an African, you might as well be an African. But we ain't Africans. I'm going to show you that. Go from there. Go to Isaiah chapter 30. Isaiah 30, 1 through 3.
Isaiah chapter 30, verse 1. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me.
We always want to take counsel. We want counsel from Dr. Phil. We want to find out what we need to do concerning our health from Dr. Oz. But we don't trust each other. Go ahead.
And that cover with the covering, but not of my spirit.
And we love covering with the covering of Christianity. We love covering with the covering of Islam and everything else in between. But we don't consult the Heavenly Father through his scriptures. Go ahead.
That they may add sin to sin.
That they may add sin to sin. He said, as if it wasn't enough, all of the stuff that y'all have done and are involved in, you want to add sin to sin. Trying to be like everybody else. Go ahead.
That walk to go down into Egypt and have not asked at my mouth.
He said, you want to go down into Egypt and be an Egyptian, and you haven't asked at my mouth. You haven't looked in these scriptures to see who you are. You listening to these brothers that are Egyptologists who got their understanding from the fathers of Egyptology, which happen to be Edomites. Francois. Cats like that. I think Francois and
Howard Carter.
Carter and it was one more. What's
There's Petrie?
Yeah, Petrie. These are the fathers of Egyptology. These are the ones that basically have dictated what your history is, and you'd rather hear it at the mouth of an enemy than coming from the word. Go ahead.
That walk to go down into Egypt and have not asked at my mouth. to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh,
Go ahead.
and to trust in the shadow of Egypt.
Say you want to strengthen yourself in the strength of Pharaoh. Pharaoh was your oppressor. And they still got that same spirit on them today. They feel like they better than you. Them real indigenous Africans, they feel like they better than you. You want to be in the shadow of Egypt, man, in Egypt. Not even realizing what's so crazy. Every Kemetic person, you confirm the Bible when you even utilize the term Kemetic. Because Kemetic comes from Kim, which is one and the same as Ham. Hum. And you solidify that this man by the name of Ham or Kim actually existed as the Bible says he did. To the point where the land and the people were named after this man. Oh, the Bible, man, that's made up. Man, shut up. Just basic stuff. Basic. But go ahead and read.
Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame.
The strength of Pharaoh shall be your shame. Our people look foolish following after that doctrine. It's just a big old sideshow. Remember, they hope was in Polite for so long. Polite turned out to be the sellout of sellouts. Yeah. Oh yeah, he living it up now, digging in probably Kardashian cousins and everything. Low life, and had the nerve to say, and he said this outright. He was like, "What'd he say?" He was like, "Man, I know where this is gonna lead, so I'm gonna stop right here. I'm not about to lose my life." He said, "I'm not gonna tick off the wrong people." He taking photo ops and all of that. But everybody had their trust in this man. He was supposed to be their savior. He was the most charismatic. Now they whole ship just done sunk. Barely hear anybody talking about him anymore. Trusting in that foolishness. He said that's going to bring you shame. Read.
And to trust in the shadow of Egypt, your confusion.
Man, Jakes are confused because of that nonsense. This ain't African history. We ain't African people. Now, some people want to get technical. I even know some camps that say, "Oh, well, we technically are African." But now, if you want to play that game, it's fine. You can even argue and say geographically, we belong because a portion of our land is in Africa. That's fine. But the geography never made the people. We come from a particular man, a progenitor, and that's who we call ourselves by. So you can go ahead and say by default, because a portion of our land is in Africa, that's fine. Right? Exactly. Because the first thing that I tell them is Africans ain't even from Africa. The most ancient African civilization that they talk about, ancient Babylon, was not on the landmass that they call Africa, unless you want to adopt the so-called Middle East, the Fertile Crescent, as a part of the continent of Africa. So you got to be careful. You can't believe everything that you hear. Our people for too long have just bought whatever it is that was given to them, because half of the time we too busy being distracted by other stuff that they got going on during this month. If people just took the time during this funky little month to actually do some research on who they are, they'd be getting somewhere. How many people have you told that they were Israelites and even offered that you would show them, and they've declined? And they haven't even tried to even Google it. So you know that the punishment is coming. That's a sorry individual. I'm gonna keep it real. That's sorry. You can't even, you can pick up your phone and go to Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, but you can't Google. You can't Google your history. That's sorry. That's negligence. That's Hosea chapter 4 and verse 6. Go from there. Go to Exodus chapter 11 and verse 7.
Exodus chapter 11, verse 7. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast, that ye may know how that the Lord doth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel.
He put a difference between them and us. We ain't Africans. We ain't the same people. Even the Israelites that are among them are starting to stand up and say, we ain't them. We part of y'all. They don't even want to be that. All praise be to the Most High for that. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 32. And I'm on 7 through 9.
They make them. They remind them all the time. I can be around a lot of Hamites, man. The Hamites, they like those Hamites are like muddy Edomites, man. Like they love to remind you that you ain't them. They used to call me a watered down Coca-Cola.
Watered down Coca-Cola?
Yeah, because they they had these things. They say they had this Petunia or something like that. They called us or something like that. I don't even know what it means no more. But yeah, they think they better than us. Everybody thinks they better than us. We the slave race and everything else. They know our history, but like you said, they all took crafty counsel.
Yep. But all praise be to the Most High. Deuteronomy said we above all of them. We better than all of them. That's why I love it, man. Go ahead and read that. 32 and 7.
Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 7.
Yep.
Remember the days of old.
So hold on. He said, remember. He said, I want you to go and remember your history. It ain't about his story. It's about our story. And if it's his story's got to be the Most High story, which happens to be our story. So you got to make sure you're getting the right history, the right story. So read that one more time.
Remember the days of old.
He said you got an obligation to remember the days of old. Read.
Consider the years of many generations.
Consider the years of many generations, not just a generation ago. And he said, I need you to consider many generations. Go ahead.
Ask thy fathers, and he will show thee.
If you ask your fathers, they'll show you. That's the problem. Our people do not want to ask our fathers. People want to trust in scholarly writings of Esau. They want to trust in Esau to give them and tell them what's going to happen tomorrow. They trust that, but they don't trust their own people. If an Edomite came up in here right now and said they've sent nuclear bombs and they're coming right now to hit America, I guarantee more Jakes would be shook. But if a black dude or a so-called Latino dude came up in here and said the same thing, you'd be like, who is this crackhead? You wouldn't pay him no mind. Go ahead.
Thy elders, and they will tell thee, when the Most High divided the nations, their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam.
He did what?
When he separated the sons of Adam.
Segregation from the jump. It's crazy because everybody's talking about, gather everybody together. All power to all the people. All lives matter. But from the jump, the Most High was separating. Said he separated the sons of Adam. Just like it says in the book of Acts. It says, from one blood, he made all nations, but he separated us. He said, I don't want y'all to be together. He said, I got a special people that I'm going to take unto myself, and I don't need them being tainted with everybody else. They special. I don't want them around y'all little nasty selves. Go ahead.
He set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of
And
Israel.
everything was predicated upon us. He said, why would he set everything according to the bounds of the children of Israel? He said, because you guys, I got to make sure that you guys know your portion that you're going to rule over. You're going to rule over the entire earth. You're going to rule over all the other nations. Whole lot of y'all up in here, y'all ain't ready for no rulership. You can't even rule your spirit. Talking about being in charge of a city. Think about it. You in charge of a city. You in charge of a country. Some of y'all will be shaking in y'all boots. I don't want that kind of responsibility. How I'm gonna do that? He said, you ain't even handling the little bit that I gave you. You ain't been faithful in the little bit I gave you. He said, how I'm gonna trust you with something bigger. He said, I'm putting y'all over the entire earth. Y'all gonna rule over the nations. Didn't he say that in the last chapter of Revelation? How we gonna rule over the nations when we ain't even exercising ruling our own spirits, ruling our own houses, ruling over our own children? How we gonna do that? Y'all ain't ready. Y'all playtime Israelites. Dead up in here. Y'all to jump up and do some jumping jacks. I don't know about y'all. I get excited about this word. Start preaching like them bootleg preachers, and maybe y'all will wake up. Maybe give me a couple of handkerchiefs. Y'all want me to process my hair. That's what you want, don't you? If this was in the bootleg church and it was watch night service, it'd be almost midnight. Y'all would be preacher. You ain't even been in there with a preacher like that. But go ahead.
Verse 9.
That's all I needed. Go from there. Go to Deuteronomy 28 and verse 68. Israelites, y'all done been spoiled. Y'all get this good old word. Y'all get this good daily bread too much. Now you bored with it. We tired of this manna. We want quail. Give a nigga some chicken. Y'all want Kentucky Fried Chicken? Start handing y'all them chicken services. I'm gonna fry it up for you, make it hot. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 68.
Yep.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
Into Egypt, meaning captivity again, but this time with ships. How come they don't talk about that? That is Black history. We can agree upon that. They, for the most part, agree upon it too, but they never tell you that it's in the Bible. You'd be hard pressed to find someone that does. I dare you to go and find a school, find anything, any kind of program, whatever, where they show you that the correlation between Deuteronomy 28 and 68 and the captivity of so-called blacks. I dare you. You find it, holler at me, and we'll make a spectacle out of it together. You ain't gonna find it. Exactly.
Past time.
Oh, for real? Wow. Migrant workers, huh? And they said something to the effect of I don't want to misquoted, but something to the effect. Basically, it makes them uncomfortable. That's the thing about our history. Our history makes them uncomfortable. What, you think I'm comfortable living it? Like, dang. You telling me I can't even heal? Because see here, this is the thing that y'all got to understand. And I was meditating on this. Some way, listen to what I'm saying. Some way, in some shape, form, or fashion, you and I are going to and have inherited, right, the turmoil and the struggle, as well as the I'll just leave it at that for lack of a better term that I can think of right now. You've inherited the struggle and the plight of your forefathers and your fathers. Even if you're in a situation where you got money, somehow, some way, your upbringing is going to be reflective of those hard times and that struggle. It's crazy because in this day and age, you got rappers and stuff, and everybody got to act like they went and sold some drugs, and they got to pretend like, or they got to prove that they went through some hard times. And one thing that I want to instill in my children and tell them, my hard times apply to you. You ain't got to go out there and do no dumb stuff to try to prove yourself. Trust me, it's a struggle enough trying to raise you in the way I'm trying to raise you because of what I inherited from my parents. That's the thing. You know, and a lot of times we looked at things and it's a warped perspective because we be like, oh, we ain't have it as bad as them. Well, in some way, but you've inherited the dysfunction. Absolutely. Absolutely. So all of that to say, man, we still feeling the effects of slavery today. As a matter of fact, go from there. Give me Jeremiah 22:10.
Jeremiah chapter 22, verse 10.
Now watch this. This is concerning slavery. Go ahead.
Weep ye not for the dead.
So the Bible says, weep ye not for the dead. But read.
Neither bemoan him.
Go ahead.
But weep sore for he that goeth away.
Reap sore for him that goeth away, that's taken away as a captive. Read.
For he shall return no more, nor see his native country.
It's a worse fate to be taken as slaves. It would have been better for us to just be annihilated. All of the stuff that we had to endure because we were taken as captives by the most diabolical beast of the field. I'm seeing more and more stuff of the heinous things that Esau did to our people. Like recently, I've spoken about it before, but I had never really seen, I saw some of it, but I saw like these bags and apparel, and they literally had the faces, the literal leather faces of our ancestors that actually made the bag. And so when you see, what was that movie where they was taking the faces in one of them horror movies? That was Jeepers Creepers. That's what it was. That's the one I was thinking of. Yeah. Esau didn't just think about that recently. He been doing that. When you look at what they did to the natives, the Israelites that was over here, and they tried to make it seem like they were the ones that were the savages, that was something that Esau had been doing. You can read about it in the Apocrypha.
I thought that it was Gad that was doing
The scalping.
I thought it was Gad doing all these years when I was growing up. We always thought that we thought Gad was doing the scalping, but really it was Esau doing all the scalping and making leather pants out of their bodies.
God.
Like that, man. I was
wicked.
Yeah.
Wicked. That he said that's a way worse fate than you dying. That's why our people, some of them was smart. They was like, I'm throwing me and my baby over this ship. Let the sharks eat me. But all praise be to the Most High for those that did go through the slavery, because we wouldn't be here if it had not been for them. But you can only imagine what they endured. Man, make me stand up in appreciation when I really reflect on it, man. Go ahead, go from there. Was that all of that?
Yeah.
Go to Baruch chapter 2 and verse 28.
Baruch 2, verse 28. And thou spakest by the servant Moses in the day when thou didst command him to write thy law before the children of Israel, saying, if ye will not hear my voice, surely this very great multitude shall be turned into a small number.
That's called being a minority. That's where it came from. He said, I'm going to turn you into the minority. Everywhere you go, you'll be a large, still in a large number, but it won't seem as if you have a large numbers of your nation of people, because you're going to be scattered into every place on the earth, and you'll be the minority amongst those people. Read.
Surely this very great multitude shall be turned into a small number among the nations, where I will scatter them.
Go ahead.
For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people.
Stiff-necked. Our people got some stiff necks still. Go ahead.
But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves.
Hosea chapter 1 and 10. He said, they gonna remember you. In the land where it was said, ye are not the people, there it shall be said, ye are the children of the living God. That's what's happening right now. Go ahead. Was that all of that?
You want 31?
Nah, that's cool. Now, yeah. Let me get 31.
And shall know that I am the Lord their power. For I will give them an heart and ears to hear.
He said, I'm gonna give them a heart, meaning a mind, because you was mindless. And you had mindless behavior, like that group that don't know what happened to them. Somebody over there laughing. That was your time, huh, Danielle? You love some mindless behavior. What was the songs that they sung? I can't even think, because that wasn't even my ear. I was looking at them like, who is this? That's a cold name, mindless behavior. We was a mindless people. He said, I'm going to give you a heart, and I'm going to give you ears to hear. Read.
And they shall praise me in the land of their captivity, and think upon my name.
That's what we doing now. Read on.
And return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds, for they shall remember the way of their fathers.
We remembering the ways of our father. Look how brothers is dressing now. Feel good. I remember about 5, 6, 7 years ago, some brothers was leery. Like, I don't know if I'm aware of that. But we make this Hebrew stuff look fly. I be feeling good, man. I'm about to get me some girls made up and start wearing them on a day-to-day basis. Be having the coldest girls walking in Vons. Looking player. Have my stuff all shined out. Go ahead. That was all of that. That was it, right?
You want to go to 34?
Nah, I don't need that.
That was nice.
Yeah. You want to do it?
No.
All right, I'm running out of time. I'm about to get my last couple. You know, it's always a gang of them that I don't get, but it's all good. Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 13 through 16. Let's get these quick.
Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 13.
Yep.
For from the least of them, even unto the greatest of them, every one is given to covetousness. And from the prophet, even unto the priest, every one dealeth falsely.
Our people have been given over to covetousness, straight up. Meaning what? We always trying to get something that don't belong to us. You want heaven in the devil's world. You always want something that don't belong to you. You're supposed to be serving time in captivity and serving your sentence, but you want to live like a boss. Straight up. But go ahead and read.
They have healed also the hurt of the daughter of my people slightly.
They healed it slightly. They give you Black History Month. They give you Cinco de Mayo slightly. But read.
Saying, peace, peace.
They give you Martin Luther King, but what?
When there is no peace.
But it ain't no peace. Go ahead.
Were they ashamed when they had committed abomination? Nay, they were not at all ashamed.
They ain't ashamed. Our people ain't ashamed around here being transvestites and everything else in between. They ain't afraid of acting a doggone fool on national television, doing these shows, the reality shows, shameless. You know what I'm saying? Everybody go get work done on their body, then they want to show their naked bodies off. It's just a shameless time in this earth. Go ahead.
Neither can they blush. Excuse me. Neither could they blush.
He said, neither could they blush. You know how it used to be a time a person to blush. Let them, their naked self be exposed. They can't even blush. They doing selfies. Everything is a selfie. I'm even selfieing my food. Look at this. Used to be a time where we'd be ashamed. We don't want nobody to see us eating, and you want everybody to see everything you doing now. Go ahead.
Therefore, they shall fall among them that fall. At the time that I visit them, they shall be cast down, saith the Lord.
16, go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths.
He said, stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old path. The old path was segregation. We want integration. Said if you wanted to know, you should have asked the old ways. Stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths. How did we achieve greatness back in the days? Through the keeping of these commandments, staying to ourselves, building our own, supporting our own. But we've done the opposite of that. And where has it gotten us? Read.
And ask for the old paths, where is the good way, and walking therein, and ye shall find rest for your soul.
We ain't found no rest, because we constantly, here you are, you can go any other way, but you want to go into the den with the lion. Didn't they say like a lion roaming about, seeking whom he may devour? That's what that spirit of Satan is in Esau. And you want to be amongst the lion every chance you get. You want to be right up under him. You want to be petted by the lion. And don't realize your life is in danger every moment that you're around that lion. You in danger of being mauled. And you on edge at every moment. You ain't got no peace because you want to be around a lion. You ought to have enough common sense to want to stay out of the way of the lion. I don't want nothing to do with that lion. I want to be my own lion. Because I'll never be able to be the lion that I need to be up under this lion, who's a lion bastard. You got 3 lions. Go ahead and finish that up.
But they said, we will not walk therein.
All right. And this is going to be the last one because I know we about out of time. If I can, let me get 2 because I don't want to lie to you. All right. 1 and then 1 more. So first one is going to be Psalms 137, 3 and 4.
Psalms 137, verse 3 and 4. For there they that carried us away captive required of us a song.
When we got carried away as captives, and even to this day, they always require a song. They want to be entertained. You're going to either have to sing, you're going to have to play, you're going to have to shoot something in the basketball hoop. They want you to somehow entertain them. And if they can't get you to entertain them in that way, then they're going to put you on TV. They're going to put you on Cops. They're going to find some kind of way for you to entertain them. They're going to watch you from their high-rise buildings, watch you like ants. They're going to watch you statistically fail miserably in life, struggle. It's just like when you be watching them shows and the dude is filming the whole thing. He's seeing the animal get caught by the predator. And they like, oh, what's going to happen? But they never intervene to help. That's how they do with us. And anytime they can step in and help, but they're like, oh, well, it's just nature. It happens. But go ahead.
And they that wasted us required of us mirth.
So they're going to waste us, but then they require for us to be happy. That's how they do. They don't care what you're going through. They totally wasted you and your people, but they want you to be happy. They want you to shuck and jive. They want you to he and haw. Go ahead.
Sing us one of those songs of Zion.
Then they want you to sing one of your old ancestral songs. Slap in the face. Song of Zion, knowing that I ain't going to see Zion again. Go ahead.
How shall we sing the Lord's song in a strange land?
How are we going to sing the Most High song in this strange land? In America. They get mad with you. Want you to sing that doggone national anthem. That ain't for us. I was mad all that time when I was supporting that, what was the song that everybody sang? Amazing Grace. Oh, Dirty Edomite wrote that. Bum Edomite. And they always just give you the one verse that really don't say that much bad stuff. Next verse about slaves and stuff. Same thing with the national anthem, I think, is, yeah. They give you the first verse. They don't say nothing about the second verse. And want you to sing it. Talk about how great Whitney was when she sang it, how great Marvin was when he did it. They had the nerve to be mad at Marvin because he put a beat to it. No, do it this way. Y'all bastards got nerve. We the salt of the earth. All y'all food is bland. It ain't tasteful until we touch it. Yeah, but I'm gonna go ahead and end it up. I'm gonna get this last one. You can write down a couple of them. Write down Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 5 through 7. Scriptures say, man, princes walking as servants. Oh yeah, we was kings and queens. But kings and queens of what? I had a depiction. I had a number of things I wanted to show y'all that I didn't get a chance to put in that PowerPoint. Ancient depictions of the Israelites. David. Now that's what a king looks like. Not these old dogs. You can write down 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 1 through 11, showing you why it's important for us to know our history. And this will be the last one, Isaiah 54, 7 and 8. Somebody up in here say, I'm glad he about to be done.
Isaiah 54, verse 7. For a small moment have I forsaken thee.
He said, for just a little bit of time. It ain't going to be long. He said, you feel like it was so long. He said, but it was just for a small moment that I forsook y'all. Go ahead.
But with great mercies will I gather thee.
But with great mercies will I gather you. He said, you don't even know what I'm doing for you. You don't really even deserve what I'm doing for you. But I'm gonna hook it up. Watch this. Read.
In a little wrath I hid my face from thee for a moment.
But go ahead.
But with everlasting kindness will I have mercy on thee.
He said, with everlasting kindness. What does that mean? Man, you ain't never got to worry about messing up no more. Every day you worry about doing something that you shouldn't be doing right now, don't you? Man, I gotta make sure I'm doing this right. I gotta make sure I'm not offending in this way. I'm gonna make sure I'm not offending this person. You walking on ice. He said, I'm gonna put you in a situation where you're gonna be perfect and you ain't gotta worry about none of that. Plus, you're gonna have everything you need. Sisters don't want to clean the house. Said, just clean it for a limited time. Said, but you're gonna have nothing but servants in the kingdom. You'll never have to clean the house again. Small price to pay. So you get tired of your kids. He said, just bear with them right now. In the kingdom, we'll have other people that'll be doing all of the things that you don't want to do. You don't like washing your car? I know my dad would say that's you. It's me. He said, look, if you don't want to do that, I'm going to have servants for you. You don't feel like getting up to get the remote, you can have servants for that. That's what I'm looking forward to. I don't know about y'all. And why? It's so beautiful to know our history because that's where we come from. When you look how Solomon ruled, you look what kind of respect David had, man. David was like, man, I'm the king. I don't have to go out, but I want to be on the front line. And Most High was with David. It said David killed 10,000s of men. And you never heard about David losing the eye, losing the arm, and not even losing a finger. That ain't nothing but the spirit of the Most High rolling with that man. How many fights have you been in where you've left unscathed? This man done put tens of thousands of men to death and still got everything intact on his body. You telling me that ain't the spirit of the Most High? That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to taking this kingdom, being with brothers. Everybody we hit, we knocking out, taking the spoils. That's what make me excited. All praise be to the Most High.